Hello everyone. If you've seen the title of this video, you know we're talking about a pretty bad car accident I was involved in with my ML55 AMG, my beloved W163 ML. A very flawed vehicle in many ways, but also not in others, which we're going to get into later. Thankfully, not a single person in the situation was injured at all. I'm talking even minor stuff, maybe a small scratch, but that's about it. And we all got away safely, and the car really did save our lives. We'll talk about what happened first, sort of what I think may have happened, but ultimately the reality is we're okay. And then also what's next, etc. Before we get into the video, I just want to say if you guys have any sensitivity or discomfort with car accidents or with, life-threatening situations, whatever, this video may not be for you, but want to throw it out there before we get into it. In a bit, we will walk out to my garage where the car currently sits. This was a rollover incident, so the car handled it quite well, in my opinion. Yeah, let's talk about it. So it was a Saturday. My buddy Kush and I were gonna go take out our German high-performance SUVs out of the forest. Nothing crazy, just do some light trails, get some cool pictures, and also grill up some burgers on a camping stove I had. It really was a pretty simple day and plan. He has an X5 4.6 IS and I have the ML55. They were competitors in period, both competing for the top speed or highest top speed of any SUV in the world. I believe it was the ML55 first, and then it was the X5 right after. Anyways, we've both modified our vehicles to be more off-road focused, which totally defeats the purpose of the high performance aspect. Our friends Carter and Matt tagged along with us. Just gonna be a nice chill day. Long story short, we were coming to a bend in one of the trails, dirt road. Really wasn't much of a trail. It was a very basic dirt road. Going on a corner about 25, 30 miles an hour. Don't exactly know what happened, but the rear end lost traction. I believe I overcorrected and tried to counter steer, and the ground had been super soft from weeks of heavy rainfall. And the front end, I think, kind of grabbed the edge of it. We fell into a ditch, sort of fall off from the main road, and once the moment of inertia, I guess, took over, car started to roll. You would think at a speed that low this shouldn't happen, but honestly I couldn't tell you. It's almost not worth analyzing every single detail of the situation, only because it's done and we're okay. But car rolled over twice. ML rolled twice, landed on its roof. So we were upside down. Thankfully, we were smart enough to wear our seatbelts. I think if we were not wearing our seatbelts, we would not have made it. So we were suspended in the air, seatbelts did their job, car's on its roof, and we're staring at the ground through the broken windshield. So, it's just two of us in the car, me and Carter, and we unbuckled the seatbelts pretty much immediately. I turned the car off immediately, we just check if we're okay. And then we crawl out the windows. So thankfully the windows were already open because we were just enjoying the nice air. And crawl out the windows, and just adrenaline's taken over at this point, right? I couldn't even tell you how we crawled out the windows or what exactly the process was. But we got out of the car and it was just shock. Just shock. And I think the bigger shock was that we were fine. Later we got fully checked out. I got CT scans in my head and my chest, and nothing abnormal there. I had a small scratch on my arm, which healed the same day. But that was kind of it. And so I'll put some pictures here of what that scene looked like at the end. It almost looks comical, like a cartoon or something. That doesn't look real. In fact, when I was thinking about making this video, I thought about making it kind of funny, but I realized not really that funny. It's a pretty serious thing. I think the funny elements of it at the time were a coping mechanism, like, oh my gosh, what do I do, blah, 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 blah. The rest of that day was pretty much just coordinating how to get the vehicle back on its wheels and back home. So thankfully, there were some nice people around who were able to help us. That whole rest of the day was kind of a fever dream. Not only in a bad way, but just lots of interesting experiences after the fact. People you meet, the stories they tell. Lovely people, truly. I mean, they really took time out of their day to help us. But you hear about some of the stuff they go through, just their lifestyles, their livelihoods, and they are completely different from how I live my life, or how a lot of us live our lives. in different parts of the country. Anyways, enough of me rambling because I can do this all day. Let's take a look at the car and I'll show you guys what happened. You'll have to excuse the messy garage and potential gardeners in the background, but here's what we're working with. So you can see the tire over here debeaded, lost pressure, that's not a big deal. The damage is actually not too severe over here. I had a rear tire carrier on at the time, which is actually in still good condition. This is where you start seeing the carnage. So, yeah. So the roof caved pretty severely there, you can see. It's actually more dramatic in person, believe it or not. The way the metal is just mangled. This fender definitely took quite a big hit. But you can see the airbags didn't go off, and I assume it's because the front is mostly intact. It really was sort of the front fender on the upper side of it. And then, yeah. The most impressive part about this, in my opinion, from my perspective at least, looking at it in person and thinking of how this all happened, is how the A-pillars have really maintained their structure. Are they battered and bruised? Yes, they are, certainly. But they are probably what kept us alive. Truly, the A-pillars are very robust. I mean, the car rolled on its roof twice, right? Rolled over once, then landed on its roof, and the doors still opened, by the way, and they do still open, just a bit clunkily, but they do. I mean, just look at how mangled this really is. It's shocking. But between the A-pillars and B-pillars, they did their job. They maintained structure. And I believe the roof, you know, it's obviously a pretty weak metal in comparison. It buckled, but I think it just absorbed the impact, really. You can see there's some parts of a dead tree up there. I mean, this was severe, very severe. Obviously, the sunroof shattered, windshield shattered, but the car was upside down. Thankfully, in the only way it's thankful in the sense that the glass didn't go into our faces, it stayed on the ground. The only window that really broke and entered the cabin was actually this one over here. That one's still intact, as you can see. This one shattered, and most of it's in the car in just random pieces. You know, it's funny, the ML was ridiculed when it first came out for build quality and just not being a true Mercedes. People would say that. But yeah, the panel gaps may not have been the best in the world, and the build quality may not have matched a W140 S-Class, right? But they engineered it to do its job, which was to save and keep the people inside of it safe. And I think looking at these A-pillars and B-pillars, that's a testament to that. It still runs and drives. So that was pretty heavy, pretty hard to look at, isn't it? But at least for me, it is in person to know that I went through that, or at least I was in the car when that happened. But ultimately, the car did its job and kept us safe. Like I said, we both walked away from that. And I was correct in saying that. The car still runs and drives. In fact, as the tow truck brought it back to my house, I drove it off and back in the garage. That's sort of a testament to the M113 V8 durability, along with the W163 in general. I mentioned earlier, these cars were criticized heavily when they first came out, the W163ML, for being poorly built and not a proper Mercedes, all these things, which, I mean, partially were true. I've made a whole video about the W163 history and its development. It truly was not built to the same standards as other Mercedes in terms of fit and finish and panel gaps. But the reality is the engineering team did the job. Not only from building a quality vehicle overall in terms of how it was built, it has solid bones, but also from a safety element. I mean, I can tell you firsthand now that a W163 is a safe vehicle. And rollovers are really kind of weird incidents. They're not a typical frontal impact or rear end impact. In some ways, they're not as bad. In some ways, they're worse. Kind of depends on the circumstances. But the fact that those pillars held up well really tells me a lot about the structure of the vehicle. And, you know, testing is one thing. You'll watch a crash test here and there, but ultimately, a real-world scenario can be different and more variation. So, before I end this video, I just want to talk about some personal lore with the W163ML that I've had now. So, when I was born, my parents actually had a 1999 ML430. So the first vehicle I was ever in was a W163ML. We had that car for about 10 years in the family, and eventually we sold it off and got a newer ML. At the same time, my grandpa actually had a early, I think it was late 90s, ML320. So I've been around MLs for my very formative years. And it's kind of one of the reasons why I'm into Mercedes and cars in general, to be honest with you. And we've had MLs my whole life. We went from the 99 430 to an 09 63 back in 09, and then we sold that. And now we have the current 09 63 you've seen all over this channel, the Engine Out series, all that. And then when I moved to Texas, it kind of felt like I needed more of an SUV as well. I bought my 05 ML500 as kind of a nostalgia play. I also knew they're very reliable and robust, that's why I bought one. Then I replaced that with my 55. You know, it's hard to look at this ML now, not because of the material loss so much or because of the work I've put into it, which I have put a good amount of work in this ML, but because this hunk of metal's 26-year, 210,000-mile journey now comes to an end, all in the pursuit of keeping us safe and alive, and I cannot thank it more, really. It's a good truck. It's a good truck, and I will definitely own another in the future. We'll see when that is, but it's too good of a vehicle to not own again. And I think my ML55 journey does not end here. So what's next for this guy? What's going on with it next? I mean, still has plenty of good parts on it. I'll probably pull the engine next week because the engine still seems to be fine. I've already gone through the whole motor and serviced it. Fresh gaskets, plugs, all the good stuff, pulleys, whatever, accessories. Definitely worth keeping. There's definitely parts here and there I'll probably sell off before I ultimately send this off to be scrapped, because that is all you can do with this frame now. The frame might be okay, but the body's definitely not. But yeah, that's kind of it. So yeah, it's been my recent experience, which wasn't too fun, but ultimately one we can probably learn from in some ways. Always wear your seatbelts, guys. Make sure you wear them. There's never a time where you shouldn't really wear one, even off-roading as it seems. And stay safe out there, drive carefully. And just remember how fast things can go wrong and very badly, very quickly, even when you're doing things the right way. So every time you go out, there's always a risk associated. Every time you go do something that's more adventurous, there are risks. Keep yourself around people. Don't do things by yourself. And put yourself in a sturdy, robust vehicle that can definitely handle it. With that said, I'll see you guys next time.